Mind What Matters. Episode 1. Siegel Says.
Welcome to the first episode in the series Mind What Matters, presented by Popcorn Production of the 2011 MMBEC course at the Wits Business School. Here we endeavour to explain the concepts that make up Daniel Siegel's triangle of well-being, and in this episode we will introduce you to the concept of mindfulness. First, we will locate the concept of mindfulness in the triangle of well-being, so that you, the viewer, can understand its relevance to the workings of the mind and the brain, and therefore also to the enhancement of well-being. According to Siegel, well-being comes about when a system is integrated. This means that all the different parts of the system are linked. If you imagine that each individual part or component of a system has specialized functions, then a well system is one where each component functionally connects to the other. Well-being is the promotion of both differentiation of each component as well as linkage. This is quite a high-level definition of well-being. In our everyday context, well-being relates to our physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual selves. The high-level definition can easily relate to each component of ourselves: the physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual components, being differentiated and functionally linked. According to Siegel, we must view each individual person as part of a collective whole, because the mind and the brain are wired to make connections with other minds and brains. The actual neural shaping of our brains is the foundation of our sense of self. We need connections in order to have a feeling of vitality and well-being. The mind, the brain, and relationships are mutually influencing aspects of the interconnectedness triangle of well-being. So what is the difference between the brain and the mind? Siegel defines the mind as an embodied and relational process that regulates the flow of energy and information. On the other hand, the brain is simply the physical mechanism positioned in our heads. Relationships are how energy and information is shared as we communicate with one another. As this series continues, you will understand more and more about this triangle of well-being. In this episode, we are going to introduce one point on the triangle, the reflective mind, so that you can better understand the concept of mindfulness. The reflective mind, one of the points of the triangle. As one of the points of Siegel's triangle of well-being, the reflective mind plays a significant part in the development of humans. The reflective mind is about being an impartial spectator or observer of your own mental processes. People who are capable of doing this are able to stay in the present. This means that they have a more nimble mind. They can change when they want to and consciously redirect their resources. A number of powerful tools can be used to grow the reflective mind. The ability to stay in the present and pay attention to your own experience can be learned. This is known as mindfulness and understood as bringing an individual's complete attention to an experience occurring in the present moment in a non-judgmental, non-reactive, and totally aware manner. This is another way of developing a reflective mind. Another technique is to be able to differentiate between the narrative focus and the experiential focus. The narrative focus is time-based memory or the story of one's life, while experiential focus is the present, the here and now, and feelings related to it. The experiential focus is difficult to remain in. while our brains default to the narrative focus. The internal experience involves emotions, perceptions, thoughts, intentions, memories, ideas, beliefs, and attitudes. By directly focusing on these aspects of mental life, a person can create a sense that subjective experience is both important and can be communicated and shared. In this manner, the mind itself becomes a central focus of sharing in the discussions between two minds. Such a meaningful making process coupled with collaborative, reciprocal communication allows one to develop. This is where the reflective mind joins to the other points on the well-being triangle, the integrated brain and attuned relationships. This episode of Mind What Matters deals with the concept of mindfulness. The history and roots of mindfulness comes from Eastern philosophy and religion such as Buddhism, Zen, Taoism, and similar contemplative traditions where conscious attention and awareness is cultivated. Mindfulness can be defined as the state of being attentive and aware of what is taking place in the present. Mindfulness can also be defined as bringing an individual's complete attention to an experience occurring in the present moment in a non-judgmental, non-reactive, and totally aware manner. A further definition is keeping one's consciousness alive to the present reality. Practices and techniques to promote mindfulness that are generally accepted in literature are meditation, Tai Chi, Qigong, yoga, hypnosis, autogenic training, relaxation techniques, imagery techniques, and any practices that implicitly or explicitly involve focused attention on the mind, brain, body, and soul. The positive effects and significance of mindfulness practices and techniques in alternative health, healing, integrative medicine, sports, and well-being disciplines are well documented. Health researchers have established that mindfulness practices are significant in managing chronic pain, health conditions, and stress levels, as measured and observed by quantifiable elements such as cortisol, dopamine, and serotonin levels. Being in flow or in the zone enables individuals to focus on tasks more fully and to maximize performance. As this phenomenon results in pleasure being experienced while mastery is gained, it can be a natural aid to goal-oriented activities such as coaching. Being in flow enhances the sense of discovery, creativity, and the feeling of being transported into a new reality. It enhances high levels of performance and it leads to alternate states of consciousness. Siegel suggests that by having integrated brain with attuned relationships and a reflective mind, we can achieve brain potentiating. By establishing and tapping into this potential, one can change one's brain, in other words, potentiate one's brain. Stress management traditionally focused on organizational stress due to conflict. The solutions that were offered were managing emotions, relaxation techniques, and exercises, etc. Mindful practices and techniques can provide the necessary platform and tools in managing and regulating stress. Mindfulness state of mind can be measured and produce specific brain wave activity. In particular, alpha, delta, and gamma brain waves are associated with deep meditation when neurons are firing rapidly in harmony. In this episode, we have endeavored to explain the concepts that make up Daniel Siegel's triangle of well-being and introduce to you the concept of mindfulness. You should now understand that mindfulness is one of the techniques that can be used to enhance a reflective mind, and that the reflective mind is one of the points of Siegel's triangle of well-being. Mindfulness is an important technique to cultivate in order to enhance the well-being of the individual as well as of the system. As this series continues, we will present more concepts and techniques that make up the triangle of well-being.